I understand that I'm barking up the wrong tree making this video. I understand I'm going to get comments saying, oh, well, literally making this video has no point. You're not going to affect your own team. I'm aware of that. I just want to air out some frustrations. And honestly, I just want to ask you guys, like, am I the only one feeling this way? Now I understand I'm not the only one feeling, the way of Joey not making any new content, Toontown Rewritten team not making new content. I understand everyone's kind of frustrated about that, even Toontown Rewritten fans. You know, I yeah, I understand that, but it's really starting to sink in for me how much of a missed opportunity Toontown Rewritten has been. You know, I don't. I remember at least when Toontown was first announced and closed beta, the Toontown presidential mayoral, whatever what didn't they call it, like I don't know what they call it, the Toontown mayor election. I remember when that happened. All these things happened, and I just remember being so hopeful. Being so hopeful for this game, being like, wow, we're actually, it's been a while. And even then, it's actually funny to discuss right now because even back then it had been years and years of no new content. I'm pretty sure we're either just past a decade until the last boss fight that Toontown has ever gotten, or we're about to pass a decade. I'm not sure. Maybe we're actually 11 years. When did the CEO come out? I don't know. It really doesn't matter. Like, we're getting into numbers so absurd right now where it's just like, yeah, nothing's been done. Okay, going back on the depressing thing. I don't really understand. Let's get into Jesse Shell a bit. I like Jesse Shell. I'm always open about that because I know I don't want to ever give the impression like I don't like him. I don't appreciate what he does for this community. No, I do. I do have a extra thing I want to throw in about Jesse Shell after this, but does Joey understand how big of a deal that actually is that Jesse Shell backs this game? Like, can he not really get that through his mind? I understand thinking more along the lines of myself, where I don't think we should look up like as Jesse Shell as an all-powerful god who can do anything in the industry. He just can't. He can't. But let's not understate that. You have the original creator of the game backing your private server, and you still sit around and don't do anything with this. I honestly don't know. I honestly don't really even care to know because it's at least been 3 years. But how long has Jesse Shell actually even been backing this game? I don't really know. He said, I think Jesse Shell's a great guy, but can we just like sit down and actually let that sink in? Because I feel like a lot of people, and honestly, for me, because I always kind of look at Jesse Shell as, honestly, I don't think he really has any say in the industry. I don't think he has really any say in Disney. The last thing I'm pretty sure he's even done for Disney was Toy Story Mania, and that was literally like a decade ago. I don't even know if that's really credible. I think I heard that somewhere. I don't know. Where you even find out that information? I know I heard that somewhere. I don't know. Maybe there's something else. Maybe he's. I feel like the only thing that Jesse Shell has is maybe as a direct line to someone at Disney. He certainly seems to claim that he does. I don't know. Back on topic, can we actually get into our mind that he's actually backing the game? Like, regardless of how much power he really has, it's just kind of so depressing where it's like you even have the creator of the game promoting your private server. And even then, you don't care. I feel like that just says so much about Joey and the team. I just can't understand it. I cannot fathom how you can have someone like that on your side and still not do anything about it. I'm sure Clash would love to have Jesse Shell on their side. I feel like wouldn't that just be so motivating to you? Like, wow, the original creator who made everything. I mean, I mean, honestly, like, I don't think it's an understatement to say if you wanted to, if Joey wanted to discuss game mechanics with Jesse Shell and show them some concept art, I don't think Jesse Shell would care. I think he would give him his input. But no, it's just let's sit around and let's do nothing and let's whine about Coach C's evil twin making videos about me. That's all this is. It's like they put more effort into not making new content than the actual effort that they could have made new content. Now, back to the other thing I wanted to throw into Jesse Shell. I don't know. Would Jesse Shell actually want to have Toontown under Shell games? I don't know. I really don't know. But I was actually thinking about this recently. MMOs are, well, first of all, they're dying out. And they are huge undertakings. Would Jesse Shell want his small company to bear the burden of something like Toontown? Something that is a pretty, how much money is Toontown going to make? Like, really? I don't really know. What okay, let's be realistic. And now let's get into the whole thing of Joey saying he wants a job at Disney. Now, one thing I find really amusing about this is, even if Toontown Rewritten was a successful game, I would say that's stupid. I've been pretty upfront about that. I think it's pretty silly to say I'm going to make a fan game and then the company's going to pick me up for a mainline game. Okay, come on. Actually, just wake up. This is the real world, guys. Like, this isn't some weird fantasy world. And with that being said, I would love for that to actually happen. Prove me wrong, Joey. Actually get a job at Disney. I would think we're in weirder things have happened in this world. So I'm not really, I'm putting my opinion out there, but make it happen and prove me wrong. Anyways, what I mean by this is Joey always says about how, oh, well, Toontown Rewritten isn't really the answer. I want Disney to come back and make a new game, but I want a job at Disney. Again, I would think that was silly even if Toontown Rewritten was a good game, but the two things seem to be polar opposite, because it's like, I want a job at Disney, but I'm going to barely update my game. I'm just going to sit on all the assets and keep the game open. And to be fair to Joey, Toontown Rewritten is definitively a better game than Toontown Online when it was closing. I don't think that's up for discussion. But in some ways, I think they're worse than Disney. I don't think Disney would have had game-breaking glitches like that one CEO glitch that happened a while ago. I mean, come on. I don't think Disney ever would have not responded to some emails. I don't think Disney would have banned... Well, I mean, we know the answer. Disney didn't ban people for stealing buildings. There's certain things that, yes, Toontown Rewritten does better. They patched a ton of bugs when they first started making Toontown Rewritten that Disney never felt the need to patch for some reason. But it's just really getting there, where it's just like, you have the original creator. There was so much hope in the air. And I honestly am one of the few people who honestly believe Toontown Rewritten could have been pretty big. Like, I don't think, now, okay, within reason, pretty big within reason, but if Toontown Rewritten is still getting, I think it's still getting like 1,500 players, like at minimum. I mean, okay, I don't think, if we're talking like 2 a.m., I doubt there's that many on, but I think we're getting around those numbers. So can you imagine if they actually put their heart and soul into this game, how many people would be playing? Like, that's how many players we're having on with this team doing absolutely nothing. So, and that's how you actually make a revival, guys. Like, you don't make a revival happen by sitting around, having your player base drop, and then Disney's just going to come by. No, if you actually want some sort of revival, you have to get their attention. And Disney doesn't care. Disney will never care about Toontown. The only time Disney cared about Toontown was a few years after it opened, and then they pretty much dropped all support of the stupid thing. I get it. I understand wanting an official Toontown server. But honestly, the only way I can ever see a official Toontown revival happening is if the rights somehow get sold to Shell Games. And I don't even know. Like, I feel like the rights of Toontown are just like buried in, like, no one's even well, okay, I don't think, I think there's an actual discussion. Okay, let's actually talk about that for a second. I feel like the undertaking of actually getting a hold of the rights of Toontown is much, much bigger than a lot of people like to make it out to be. Um, I don't know. There's always the thing where, okay, it's called Disney's Toontown Online. Okay, well, that's easy. Just call it Shell Games Toontown Online. Or just call it Toontown Online. Remove all the Disney characters. There's no way they're going to want the Disney characters in them. If Shell Games were to get it. I feel like just Disney doesn't care. I feel like it's just one of those things where it's like, well, we could do a discussion with Shell Games and sell it for some money. But I mean, we could just invest this money into this, which we know is going to make a lot more money. That's the thing with big companies. And you see this in video game sales too, where one game will sell for like 2 million copies, and then the video game company will be like, oh, that game did terrible. And those are always bigger companies. But then you have another video game sell for like 1.5 million, and the company is ecstatic. And the reason for that is the bigger company, their time is extremely valuable. So when you're talking about one of the biggest companies, Disney, they don't care. Toontown could make money. I'm going to be kind of direct with that. It wouldn't cost much to have a Toontown server make money. It really wouldn't. But that money would be so minimal, and there would be risk to it. But Disney could just go and put that money into something that they know for a fact will make money. Disney's not some small company. And I mean, in King's Isle, that's the company that makes Wizard 101. In their credit, they're a pretty small company, so it's kind of a weird question where will King's Isle close even if they get to a point where they're not making that much money? I mean, there's always a discussion because it's just like, well, they're a small company. It's not really like all their other games that they've released have not made near what Wizard 101 has made. So there's a real discussion there. So I don't know. It's just really kind of depressing nowadays when I sit back and think about how much this could have actually, how much of a different state we actually could be in as a community. The only way for Toontown to ever actually come back is okay, there's two ways. Jesse Shell, and maybe if a Toontown server can make the community extremely big again to get Disney's notice. Like, I think that isn't the most, like, I think it's unreasonable, but I don't think it's the most unreasonable thing in the world. But what we need to understand is we are so far away from that ever even being a possibility. We're so far away. If Jesse Shell ever leaves the community, I think, like, yeah, 0%. It's never happening. Now, with that being said, I don't think Jesse Shell's ever going to leave the community. I think he's going to keep staying in the community. I mean, I don't really see why he would. Again, like Jesse Shell's a person. I hope he can prove me wrong. Prove me wrong, Joey. Actually bring back a Toontown server. Who knows? And that's the thing. Toontown Rewritten team is a very creative bunch of people. Like, maybe if Joey actually had a job somewhere without that wasn't whining and complaining about how I'm being too mean in videos, how the community needs to be more respectful to Jesse Shell. Maybe if he actually had a job, he would honestly probably do a lot better on Toontown Rewritten if it was actually his job to do so. But when something's not your job, and we see this a lot, I mean, we even see this with people with jobs, if we're going to be frank, where it's just like, well, I don't really want to do it. Well, just do something. I don't know. It's so frustrating. It's so frustrating. It's kind of hard for it not to, sap the life out of you when it comes to Toontown. And I feel like this is so disrespectful too. And I'm not talking on my behalf. I'm more referring to everyone else who makes Toontown videos, if I'm going to be honest. Because, okay, I've always kind of been, the goofy person of Toontown. No, they don't owe me anything, but I feel like with other people, and I haven't talked with any of them about this, so don't think I'm like saying this because they're afraid to or anything, but honestly, to me, I almost feel like that's disrespectful to other people who make Toontown YouTube videos, because it's like, what do you want them to do? All these people are literally making videos of your game, And what, you're just gonna sit around and just leave them out in the cold? Like, I feel like that's so disrespectful. I just, uh, I don't, I don't know what's there really to say. I don't really know. Um, yeah, and I'm not saying that for me, because because obviously I don't think but I feel like when you're in a community like this that's a lot smaller, and you have a lot of people, and it's hard to get. Anyways, thank you all for watching. I just wanted to ramble about this. Do you guys feel the same way? Do you guys feel like, a lot of, does it feel kind of depressing nowadays where it's just like, yeah, all the hope and soul is kind of sucked out of Toontown Rewritten? Anyways, thank you all for watching. I hope you all have a great day.